A former Baltimore Ravens quarterback slammed Bills fans and the media for counting out Lamar Jackson and trying to hand the MVP award to Josh Allen too early. We talk about that. Lamar Jackson putting his competitiveness on full display and so much more coming up next year on Locked On Ravens.
You are Locked On Ravens, your daily Baltimore Ravens podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into another edition of Locked On Ravens, your daily Baltimore Ravens podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Ostreicher of Ravens Wire, here with you on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you so much for being here, making Locked On Ravens both a part of your day and your first listen each and every single day. Free and available, all podcasting platforms, that includes in video form on YouTube, where you can like and subscribe to the channel. Also in audio form, where you can follow along and subscribe over there as well. We're a 5-day-a-week Ravens podcast, same show, both audio and video form. And we bring you Ravens news, analysis, updates, and so much more. We have bonus episodes. We go live after every single Ravens game and after every piece of Ravens big news. So if you want daily Ravens coverage, be sure to keep it locked in here on Locked On Ravens. Today's episode of Locked On Ravens is brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a bigger turn on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet and get started with $250 of bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. The Ravens beat the Steelers. I'm going to shout it from the rooftops for as long as I can. I mean, a glorious win in Week 16. Here we are on Monday, and the Ravens have a very short turnaround playing the Texans on Wednesday. This whole week, Saturday game, Wednesday, it's all throwing me off. But we move here on Locked On Ravens, and on today's show, we're going to be diving into a former Ravens quarterback slamming the media for trying to hand that MVP award over a little too early to Josh Allen and counting Lamar Jackson out. So we'll talk about what happened yesterday that maybe even shifted the conversation back in Lamar's favor. Spoiler, it certainly did. And what the conversation could look like, even though I know for myself and a lot of other people, honestly, look, MVP, it's cool, it's great. You want the guy that deserves it to win it, but Super Bowl MVP is honestly what I would prefer, and I know a lot of other people would as well. Then we're going to dive into Lamar Jackson showing his competitiveness yet again. In that game against the Steelers, there was a pretty bad interception. Rashad Bateman stops his route. Lamar throws the ball, misses guys. I mean, again, we're going to talk about Lamar here because he just wants to win, and he is so in tune with his mistakes. He wants to correct them so badly, even if it's not his fault, which honestly, in my opinion, look, Bateman stopped the route. We'll dive into it in the second part of the show, but Lamar talked about that interception and frankly would not stop talking about it, but that just showed me how much he wants to win. So we'll talk about that. Then we'll dive into a bit more of Steelers analysis from Saturday. We'll get into some Texans preview for Wednesday because we have, again, that short turnaround is real. So let's talk about it. Robert Griffin III, former Ravens quarterback, Lamar Jackson's teammate, and honestly someone who, while in Baltimore, was an incredible mentor to Lamar during his years, rookie and kind of growing up, learning the NFL game and figuring out how to go about things as a pro. RG3 was there for Lamar, and I think that was a really good thing for him. For those that don't know the conversation that was had last week, obviously, a lot of people were just saying the MVP race was over, and it honestly extended past that about just like even talking down on Lamar and all these other conversations. Like Dan Orlovsky said, this isn't a great player award. This is the most valuable player, which is a random shot at Lamar for no reason. So Robert Griffin III went on Kay Adams and her show and ended up talking about how, look, the MVP race is not over. And I'll pull up what RG3 said because they had all these stats up on about how Lamar has one of the best passer ratings in NFL history and all this stuff. The stats are there. They're there. For those that don't know, Lamar is better in every single statistical category than Josh Allen, except for rushing touchdowns and obviously the record as well. But in my opinion, 3 losses versus 5 losses, that's not a big breaking point for me for Lamar. I get record as a conversation. It is with Joe Burrow more so, in my opinion, but RG3 stuck up for Lamar last week, saying if Lamar goes on Christmas Day and has the game he had against the New York Giants, I believe he wins the MVP. He was very adamant that the MVP race was not over. And my thing is, look, Josh Allen and Lamar are two great players. They're both very deserving of the award. And even RG3 himself had Josh Allen above Lamar in his MVP rankings last week, which obviously are ever so changing for everybody. I don't have a problem if you have Josh Allen 1 or Lamar Jackson 2 or Lamar Jackson 1, Josh Allen 2, whatever it may be. I have Lamar 1, Josh Allen 2. But we still have, at this point, it was 3 weeks, and now here we are today, and it's 2 weeks to go. The race is not over. It was never over. To say, okay, wrap it up, that's it, there's no way. And then you have what happened on Sunday where Josh Allen puts up a stinker game in a win. They won the game against the Patriots, but 3-11 team. If Lamar Jackson had that type of game against a 3-11 team, he would be sent to another dimension. I put that out on social media, and it's true. Do you want to know why I know it's true? Because it happened. Lamar didn't get excuses for losing to the Raiders. Lamar didn't get excuses for losing to the Browns. Josh Allen should not get excuses for his performance. I get it. I get it's win versus loss, right? The Bills found a way to pull the game out. I understand that, and I'm not trying to completely throw away that fact. But it's about the performance. And Josh Allen, he's had a 9-for-30 game against Houston. He got blown out by Baltimore in Baltimore. This is not the first time Josh Allen has not had a great game. And so RG3 kind of took some victory laps after the Bills game and took some victory laps after the Ravens game happened as well, where after the Ravens beat the Steelers, he ended up saying, told y'all the MVP race wasn't over. Lamar Jackson is having a historical year. And then after the Bills game, he said the MVP race will be decided on Netflix on Christmas Day. Lamar Jackson is the front runner, and how he plays will determine if he wins it. And he actually went as far as to call out Bills fans, because Bills fans started calling Robert Griffin III out, saying, oh, your agenda's just tired. Just say you don't want Allen to win it. And he was getting all those comments from Bills fans. And RG3 brought up his rankings from this past week, saying, Josh was first on my list last week. I don't have a guy I want to win it. Love them both. Support them both. Just say you want the guy on the team you report on to win it, and stop getting mad at me for Josh struggling and not having a better week than Lamar. Only agenda here is yours. Boom. That's a RG3 mic drop right there. And it's true, right? Like, you can look at stats, you can look at performance, you can look at everything. You have to obviously combine everything into one. But it seems like there is an agenda being pushed for Josh Allen. And this doesn't even just go for Bills fans or anything like that, right? This is like even an NFL thing. For example, like CBS Sports, who, again, huge national brand. This is one of the craziest things I've ever seen on social media, ever, legitimately ever, in the football space. Josh Allen throws an interception. I know there was a lot of comments about like DPI or whatever. I'm not factoring that in. Like, I don't really think there was DPI. I didn't get a clear look at it. You can't really see from the angle. But regardless of if there was DPI or not, Josh Allen throws a deep interception. The Patriots defender, boneheaded mistake, runs the ball out of the end zone and gets tackled at the 1-yard line. So how does CBS frame this? They say, instead of Josh Allen throws an interception, Josh Allen turns the ball over, right? Those are the headlines you usually get for quarterbacks throwing interceptions, especially Lamar Jackson, by the way. You have CBS Sports saying Josh Allen pins the Patriots inside the 1 with an arm punt. An arm punt. Are we now calling interceptions arm punts? For those that don't know, the definition or what an arm punt is you throw the ball deep, and essentially it's the same as a punt. You're giving the ball back to the opposing team. It's not like an incompletion. It was 3rd and 16. So essentially you say, oh, interception down at the 1-yard line. Yeah, that's about as good as a punt would have been, or even better than a punt. But why are we framing it this way? Why? And everybody called CBS Sports out about it. I did. Everybody did. Because again, hey, next time Lamar throws an interception deep, oh, hey, that's an arm punt, right? That's what we're going to call it, an arm punt, especially if it's in the red zone or whatever. Oh, that's a short little arm punt right there. That, to me, it feels like there's an agenda going on here. But I'm glad RG3 called it out. And again, he did a big mic drop on Bills fans, which was like, boom. So, again, MVP, obviously for me, it's great if Lamar wins it. If he doesn't, I'll live. If he deserves it, it'll be disappointing, but I'll live. Obviously, the big MVP that everybody here in Baltimore wants is the Super Bowl MVP. Josh Allen can have his MVP. If Lamar wins the Super Bowl MVP, hey, that's the one that matters more. But it's just about giving the guy that deserves the award more. If Josh Allen deserves the award more at the end of the 18-game season or 17-game season, 18 weeks, then fine. Give Josh Allen the award. That's fine. If Lamar deserves it more, then give Lamar the award. That's what it is. It's not about creating agendas or creating this or that. It's about putting everything in and seeing how it all unfolds. So we still have 2 weeks to go. MVP race not over. But I would say after a big divisional win for Lamar and a not so big divisional win for Josh Allen and didn't look great, Lamar had a lot of moments outside of the one interception. I think Lamar is ahead in the MVP race for me right now. But coming up in the second part of the show, we're going to talk about that interception. Lamar just showing his competitive spirit yet again. Stay tuned. We have plenty to talk about here on Locked On Ravens. Today's episode is sponsored by Prize Picks. If you love watching the game, you're going to love Prize Picks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy, whether it's football, basketball, or any of your favorite sports. Prize Picks makes your holidays bigger and brighter. You can now earn up to 1,000 times your money on Prize Picks. Plus, this holiday season, they're giving away $30+ million in rewards during Picksmas and offering 2 free picks in December. And when your picks hit, Prize Picks makes it easy to cash out. You can get your money in as fast as 15 minutes. This week, I'm looking at maybe Jared Goff for more than 230 passing yards and Saquon Barkley for more than 1 touchdown. It's quick, simple, and so much fun to challenge myself and my friends. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's right, $50 instantly when you play just $5. Prize Picks, run your game. We return our second segment, Locked On Ravens. Kevin Oestreicher here with you on this Monday, just 2 days out from the Ravens playing another football game. Houston Texans, they'll be traveling down there. We did get some updates from John Harbaugh on Monday, some practice estimations. We'll talk about those in the final part of the show. If you're new here on Locked On Ravens, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button in video form or follow along in audio form if you're an everydayer. Really appreciate your consistent support here on Locked On Ravens. Surely does mean the world to me. And if you're somewhere in the middle, thank you for checking in. Again, we're an audio show. We're a video show. You're not missing out either way you decide to consume our content. Big milestone on the video side, though. We hit 10,000 subscribers just a couple weeks ago. I guess last week. Yeah, last Saturday we did. I have my 10,000 sticky note here. I'm like Wilt Chamberlain with that. But another big one is yesterday's bonus episode of Locked On Ravens. We talked about Patrick Queen going off after losing to Baltimore. He literally, like, craziness from Patrick Queen. If you haven't checked that out, be sure to check it out. That is now the highest viewed episode in video form on Locked On Ravens history. Over 30,000 views. It was my first 30,000 view episode on Locked On Ravens. So just hitting milestone after milestone here on Locked On Ravens. And of course, that's not possible without all the support I get here on the show. So it truly, from the bottom of my heart, means the world to me. And we're going to keep on grinding here on Locked On Ravens. I mean, this is episode 1,406 consecutively for me here on Locked On Ravens in the weekday format. Started this back in 2019, and hopefully we can cap off this 2024 season with a Super Bowl victory for the Ravens. But that's going to have to happen with Lamar Jackson leading the way, and I'm confident in Lamar being able to do that. But, of course, this is a team game. You got to play team football. Baltimore, I think, has done that for the most part over this last month, but it all starts with Lamar. And I think Lamar has had his competitive spirit rub off on everybody on that team. Lamar is, he's somebody that loves to be perfect, and I don't blame him. I mean, in the NFL, you got to be as close to perfect as possible in order to get the job done. You don't have to be perfect. You can make mistakes. You can still win football games that way. But Lamar showed his competitive spirit again. I love the way Lamar just gets so locked in around this time of year. I mean, obviously, you got a long way to go, 2 more regular season games, and hopefully for Baltimore, 4 more postseason games to, go and get the job done. But Lamar against the Steelers, that 34-17 win, had an interception in the red zone. Rashad Bateman stopped his route. Lamar throws the ball, and it goes right into the arms of Minkah Fitzpatrick. Now, again, it was really no harm, no foul, because a couple plays later, Marlon Humphrey literally gets a pick 6 and flips the game on its head. This game had so many game-changing moments on both sides of the ball. Darius Washington, Minkah, Marlon, like everybody. But Lamar, after the game, I mean, he was asked a lot about, okay, now you won the game. How do you feel about beating Pittsburgh? This was a big deal, being able to beat the Steelers. How are you looking ahead to Houston next week? And Lamar the whole time was just talking about, I'm mad about the interception. I was mad about the interception. I'm still mad about the interception. Lamar wants to be perfect. I mean, he talked about it on his post game. We talked about Tom Brady as well yesterday. We talked about Brady and what he had to say to Lamar. And Lamar was talking about his interception and how he was mad about it. And that is from a player that we know every single play. I mean, if something happens and it doesn't go right for Lamar and it's a turnover or it's a bad 3-and-out, I mean, that 3rd and 1 to Derrick Henry, where the Ravens went quick at the line, they tried to get one over on the Steelers and they ended up getting stuffed. Lamar was hopping mad coming off to the sideline. You know, he was mad. And that's not because, he's mad at Derrick Henry for not getting the first or mad at his offensive line or yada, yada, yada. Of course, Lamar disagrees with things. So let people know, right? I think you should, especially when you're the quarterback of the team. And I think you have some saying power in what goes on. But literally here, Lamar, he was asked about how gratifying it was for him to play well against the Steelers. He says that I feel like I could have played better. The interception really got me mad. If we don't turn the ball over in almost any game, then we win the game. The one turnover could have been the difference, but shout out to Marlowe and the defense because those guys played lights out all game, definitely. And he talked about the miscommunication. He said, yeah, there was a miscommunication there between him and Rashad Bateman. And you can see there was an angle the broadcast showed of Todd Monken in the booth. And you can see him saying it's either bait, or Pat. And the reason Pat would be what Monken was saying was because Zay Flowers and Patrick Ricard were wide open on the left side of the field. So Lamar did have an opportunity to, if he held the ball for just a split second longer and went through another read, could have floated the ball over to one of those guys. But the pressure, I think it was from Patrick Queen, actually, funny enough, came in hot. And Lamar had to get rid of the ball. And it looked like Bateman wanted to settle down into a zone. And Lamar wanted him to keep going on his crosser, going across the field. And obviously, that has catastrophic implications when, you're trying to throw a ball to someone and you're trying to place it to where you think they're going to be, but the guy just stops. And all of a sudden, it doesn't mean anything because the ball's going the other way. So I think that Lamar, he understands the magnitude of these games. He certainly understood the magnitude of this one. And I think that's part of why. The Ravens, you could tell that they wanted to win that Chiefs game. They were trying everything they could to win that Chiefs game. They want to win every game, and I'm not saying they don't. But there are certain games, every NFL team has certain games where you circle it on the calendar, and you could tell that this was one of those games. As I talked about on the post game, on yesterday's bonus episode, Baltimore talked a big talk last week about how they wanted to change the narrative, about how they wanted to flip this rivalry back on its head and make it more even and get a win against Pittsburgh. Zay Flowers talked about it post-game. He said, hey, you're not a Raven until you beat the Steelers. I guess I'm a Raven now. That stuff is really cool. And you could see with the effort that Zay was showing, Lamar, the defense. Sure, there were moments where the game was shaky. Sure, there were moments where you weren't sure what was going to happen or if Baltimore was going to be able to pull out. But man, I feel like the Ravens' momentum is great in any way, shape, or form. And that can be season-long momentum. That can be game-by-game momentum. That can be in-game momentum. It means a lot. And Lamar wanting to be perfect in as best he can, as best as ways as he can, that does rub off on the team. That does set a precedent for everybody. And it feels like the Ravens now are locked in. There have been moments where they haven't been this season. I mean, we talked about that Browns loss, that Raiders loss. They weren't locked in those moments. It's on the coaches and it's on the players to have your guys ready to play for the coaching staff and go out there and execute at a high level if you're a player. You have to be on the same wavelength, the same page, and it just felt like, despite almost going down 14-7, despite having Pittsburgh move the ball a little more on the defensive side of the ball than you thought they would, you saw the defense bounce back. You saw the offense turn it on. You saw them make momentum plays. And when a play didn't go right, it's good to have those in wins. It's better to have them when you're able to go and correct them and feel good about, hey, we won the game, but we can be better. And that's really been Lamar's message. It's, we won, but I think we can be so much better. And that's really been the message from Lamar all season when the Ravens have won. And part of that is just not letting things slide. Not being complacent. Oh, yeah, interception happened. Oh, yeah, I gave up some yards. Just this, that, and the other. It's, hey, we won the game. We were able to overcome our mistakes, but let's continue to do the good and then let's filter out this bad stuff. Because I feel like if the Ravens can put everything together, and it seems like they are doing it in some way, shape, or form, the NFL is wide open. It really is. And the Ravens have as good of a shot as anybody as long as they have Lamar Jackson to go out there and do the thing, achieve their goal, and win a Super Bowl. Coming up in the final part of the show, we will dive into a bit more Steelers analysis from Saturday and then preview the Texans a little bit here as well. So be sure to stay tuned. A lot to get to on Locked On Ravens. First, the show is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL playoffs are almost here, but it's not too late to get in on the regular season action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers can finish the season strong with $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. FanDuel has so many ways for you to pick up a W. I love betting on which players will score a touchdown and how many points each team will score. It's thrilling. And not only can you bet on who will win the game, but FanDuel also has bets for so much more. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your chance at $250 in bonus bets. Make every moment more. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. And the show is brought to you by DK Law Group. When you need a law firm, do you want the legal runaround, or would you rather have a no-nonsense approach? Well, you get the latter with DK Law Group. DK Law Group is a Maryland-based law firm who is redefining the legal process with their modern approach. DK Law Group specializes in real estate law, estate planning, business law, and family law. They're tech-savvy. They treat clients like family, and they focus on keeping your legal solutions simple. DK Law Group is a woman-led firm with Diana Khan at the helm. Diana has been called an unparalleled legal expert by some. One of the things I'll quickly notice with DK Law Group is their transparent pricing. They believe in clarity and cost and no one left in limbo. DK Law Group knows that speed is key. By leveraging technology, DK Law Group streamlines the process to serve you better and faster. Contact DK Law Group today at dklawmd.com. Locked On listeners and call today to schedule a free 30-minute consultation when you mention the tagline Empowering Legacies. Locked On Ravens, Kevin Oestreicher, still here with you, talking Ravens football here on this Monday. Short turnaround for Baltimore again as they travel to Houston on Christmas Day. Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Ravens, as always, and making us a part of your day and your first listen each and every single day. You can like and subscribe in video form and follow along in audio form. We're a Daily Ravens podcast, and by daily, I mean daily. So we are not taking days off. We'll be here on Christmas Eve tomorrow. We'll be here on Christmas Day. Looking ahead, we'll be here on New Year's Eve. We'll be here on New Year's Day. We don't take any time off here on Locked On Ravens because we want to bring you the best daily Ravens coverage possible. So thank you for all your support. And let's talk now about a little bit of that Steelers game. Ravens win 34-17. The big thing that stuck out to me here, there were a lot of things. I mean, we talked about them a lot during the post game and during yesterday, but I want to bring it up again today a little bit. The Ravens established the run with Derrick Henry. 24 carries, over 160 yards for Derrick Henry. Pittsburgh could not stop it despite being a top 5 rush defense coming into this game. What that did for the Ravens was it opened up their play action game. You saw it on the Isaiah Likely touchdown. Isaiah Likely said he didn't expect to be that open, but Baltimore did a really good job of making sure that it wasn't just, oh, we're just going to run the ball till you stop it consistently. No, that takes away the allure, and almost it's like honey, right? The Ravens were the honey in this situation, and every time they had a successful run, that honey was getting sweeter and sweeter. It was attracting more bees, and by that I mean the Steelers. They kept bringing guys up at the line. They kept trying to get more guys in there, and the Ravens, they say, all right, the honey's sweet now. Let's do play action, and boom, let's just throw it out. Let's make sure that we have the Steelers defense on their toes. And that's exactly what happened. The Ravens forced the Steelers to put more personnel into stopping their ground game because they were not stopping it otherwise. And I thought the Baltimore did a great job overall of making sure that they played to their strength. And in this game, played to Pittsburgh's weaknesses. Pittsburgh didn't have 3/4 of their secondary for most of this game. That's a factor you got to play into it. But the Ravens also weren't very sloppy in terms of penalties. Fumbles, that's a different story. The fumble luck that Baltimore had in this game was great. You usually don't have that good of fumble luck, but Baltimore did. But penalty-wise, the Ravens had 2 for 10, and that was a really big part of why they were able to win the game, because sometimes those penalties can just derail you. We've seen it happen time and time and time again for the Ravens, but they went out there and they did a great job of not letting that impact the game, not letting the referees impact the game. And that's a big thing because that's one of the things that we've talked about forever on Locked On Ravens this season. Hey, if this team can shore up the penalties, they have a chance to go far. They have a chance to be really, really good in the postseason once it actually starts to matter even more than the regular season. They've taken some steps forward. They've taken some steps back. But I thought it was a really good display for Baltimore. Both teams weren't really great on third down. They went 4 for 10 each. So, not wonderful there. But we saw Justin Tucker have a big game. Defensively, guys were stepping up like Ardarius Washington, Kyle Van Noy, David Ajabo did a really good job, I felt like. And then the stars did their thing. Roquan Smith, Kyle Hamilton, Marlon Humphrey all had big plays. So I thought it was a really good team win for the Ravens, offensively, defensively, special teams. And when there were mistakes, guys came back and they corrected them, and they made a big play. Jordan Stout had a shanked punt, comes back and snags a snap, brings it in for a perfect Justin Tucker kick. So everybody stepped up. This was a game that you wanted to see against the heated division rival, one that you really haven't been able to beat. That was big for Baltimore. Now moving to Houston, we did get some updates from John Harbaugh and the Ravens just in terms of practice availability and potential for guys to maybe make this game or miss it. I think it's going to be pretty tough for Justice Hill to play in that game. Again, my prayers still go out to him. Just a really scary thing that happened on Saturday, was knocked out on the field. It looked like the practice estimation for the Ravens: Nelson Aguilar, Jalen Armour-Davis, Daniel Falele, Zay Flowers, Justice Hill, Tyler Linderbaum, and Tre'Davious White all did not practice. You had one limited in there, Bo Braid, with a shoulder injury. Now, John Harbaugh did express optimism that Zay Flowers and some other guys will be able to play in the game. Obviously, nothing's certain yet before kickoff, but it's tough to have this short turnaround. You got to keep your body right and make sure that you're not overly working guys. I thought it was a good sign that Rashad Bateman was not on the injury report here. I thought that was good, but it looks like, for Keaton Mitchell even, John Harbaugh said that he'll be ready to go in the event that Justice Hill is not able to go. He's optimistic that Flowers and also Daniel Falele will play here as I'm reading out. But Kyle Hamilton saying, look, it's a physical challenge. You got to play in it as part of the business. And that's exactly what this is. Business, money is what this is. This is not safe for the players. We all know that, but the NFL wants their money. And that's what's happening here with the holiday season. So Texans are a team just in terms of what they bring to the table. CJ Stroud's hit a second-year wall, and they've dealt with a ton of injuries. Prayers up to Tank Dell as well. They've already lost Stephon Diggs for this season. Unclear if John Mechie will be able to play in this game, according to what I saw recently. But the offensive line has struggled. They've lost defensive pieces as well. I feel like Baltimore should be able to win this game. Hopefully they do, because they need it, because even though they won against Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh still holds the division tiebreaker. They need Pittsburgh to win at least one of their one of their final two games, while Baltimore wins both, or Pittsburgh loses both and Baltimore wins both. But that's all I have for you here today on Locked On Ravens. Thank you so much for tuning in to the show today. Coming up tomorrow, more Ravens content. So on the way out, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button in video form. Be sure to follow along in audio form as well. And I'll see you right back here tomorrow on Locked On Ravens.